Welcome to the next episode of Turf to Triumph. Today we have a great personality with us. His name is Anshul Tamta. Welcome Anshul to this episode.
Hello Nasir ji, thanks for having me here.
So Anshul is one of the few licensed coaches in India who have licensed from FA, English Premier League and UFA. So Anshul, I have the first question for you.
Sure.
You are the founder of Global Sports Coaching. I think you found this company in 2016.
Yes.
And you are proud of it, I can see.
Yes.
And so tell me simple thing that you have been running sports program in India after being coached in Europe. What are the gaps between India and Europe in high intensity coaching like football?
Yeah, first I would like to touch upon the global sports coaching part which you mentioned. So this spiral, this shows that it's evolution. It's not ending. It's not.
Okay.
So it's not a circle. It does not stop. So we are always improving and trying to be the best all the time. Coming to the difference in
the gap between the training programs between India and Europe.
Yeah. So the gap is the curriculum wise. The gap is not much. The gap is because of the details. So for example, because of the cultural difference between the two countries, let's say continents, Europe and especially India and Asia, they have a sporting lifestyle since childhood. So a kid starts from the age of 5 and by the time he reaches 14, he already has played 200, 300 games. Whereas in India, he starts at 10 and then by the time he plays 400 games, he's already 18. So the gap is a lot.
And the games are also not very high level, I suppose.
Yes. So what happens because of this gap in the number of games is that details. Those who have played a lot of games, they develop details. So the coaching in Europe is more detailed. So the curriculum might be the same, the recipe is the same, but the cook there is more detailed, more nuanced way of cooking. But here, because of the less number of games, less sporty nation, less sporty culture, the number of games is less, so the details are missing. So here the coach education is at a very broad level, not very detailed, shallow, superficial, but there it is more detailed.
So basically you want to say that it is not about only coaching and training, it is also about matches. You have to play a lot of matches to be a good player.
Absolutely, because as there is a saying, life is the best teacher. Why do we say this? Because there are situations in life which teach us. Similarly, because football is part of life, right? So when we are talking about coaching, we are trying to improve the footballer. And what part of his life? Football part of his life. So if we need to improve him, he needs to be put in football situations. And the most realistic situation close to football is a football game, right? So more the number of games, more life, in short, football is teaching him, and the better he is becoming naturally. And this way of coaching we call situation coaching, where situation is the coach, and the so-called coach is designing the situation and letting the situation influence the player.
Understood. I think it's very, very interesting. So you also have been coaching in a lot of places. I know that you also are associated in some of the Gallant play arenas. Your team is coaching there. So what are the changes in methodology compared to UFA or English Premier League? What are the, is there anything special you are doing to bridge the gap basically?
Yeah, so again, first you mentioned Gallant Play Arena. I would thank you because of your wonderful facility where we operate our football academies. It's smooth and never a problem even in this, because we are talking in the middle of the rainy season.
All weather surface, yeah.
Yeah, in Delhi. And I'm glad to say that due to these heavy rains, the play has not stopped. So yeah, Gallant Play has taken the word play very seriously, and the play does not stop even in the rains.
Thanks a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and coming to the next part of your question, the difference in methodologies. See, again, because of the number of hours which they have dedicated, I would say that their methodology is more game based. Ours is not that game based, away from the game. I'll give you an example. For example, let's say here a person is, it will get very technical, but you can imagine a drill where there are no opponents, right? And so you have 3 training sessions. You are making the players do drills which has no opponents. I pass to you, you pass to me, he passes me back. Happy, we are good passers because there are no consequences. On Sunday game, there will be opponents and equal number of opponents. Right now it is him, you and me, 3 versus 0. On Sunday it's going to be 5 versus 5. So you know the transfer of the training effect from training session to the match is where we are lacking. And curriculum wise, both Europe and India, they're not very far apart. But yeah, details wise, yes, there's a difference.
Very well said. Basically, people like you who are well trained should bridge the gap, because that is what is required. I think we are not in the top 100 in football ranking, which is a sad part because India loves football.
Yeah. And sorry, I missed the last part of your statement that how GSC is bridging the gap. I missed about this. So this is where GSC comes in. So how, be it Indian coaching system or any other club, any other country, how you can improve your coaching system. That's the knowledge where GSC comes in with its model, and we call it philosophical model of player and coach development. So that is the model through which we improve the coaching standards via educating the coach.
So I have another question here. I have been hearing from a lot of players that the real talent is at the grassroots level and the real players are there. So how are you affecting and how are you trying to bridge that gap also? How do you bring the talent from grassroots to the main core where we can train them?
So Nasirji, whether it be grassroots or youth, there has to be a curriculum. How many clubs, if you go to any random academy or club and you ask them one question, where is your curriculum? Most of them, they don't have a curriculum, or they have a curriculum which is so superficial that it can be falsified like this. And and I also, somewhere FIFA also has to take this blame, because there is no universal curriculum. For example, we are in a school, and the match teacher, the regular match teacher, goes and moves to some other school. The new teacher comes in. Is the new teacher following the same curriculum, or is she bringing a new curriculum with him or her? What do you say?
True.
Same or different? What do you say?
No, I think curriculum is going to be very important. That's what we have been talking to Anshul for building these curriculums for even Gallant play, because this is going to be very important, that curriculums needs to be addressed very well. How well, because as we had another episode where some education expert was here with us, and he was saying that we generally have one period, so the curriculum doesn't put sports in the schools, like they have one period in a week.
So now putting this in an example, like you have the recipe, but you don't have enough time to cook. So that there is a cook who is expert in recipe, but he is given only one period in a week to cook. So of course the amount of food he can cook is very limited. That will not be enough.
So with this, I have another question for you. Like, what should be the focus of schools in sports, not only football, any sport, because everybody cannot be playing football, and in school hours, and what can people like you and Gallant Play and GSC or many others who are trying to do after school programs, what should be the focus?
The problem is if you zoom out of the school today are run is a business. So they have to cater to customers' demands. So if there are not enough people like you and me who are asking the school, hey, why are you just making my kid play 1 hour a day? Do you want him or her as an adult to be addicted to be having diabetes?
Potato couch.
The potato couch, diabetes. India is a diabetes capital. So it's the education needs to be done at the society level first. Because if we start demanding it from the school has to do it. And there are some schools who have started doing it. That's why there are a lot of arenas, as you know. You have built very world-class arenas at those schools because there is the demand. So the only problem is the demand has to grow. It has to raise, the demand has to raise the decibel level. It has to be so loud that any school cannot afford to have less than one period a day for sports. Otherwise, and that the only way of doing it is by education. By education through
curriculums.
By curriculums and by podcasts, and also education at general level. Like if a parent knows how good sport is for a kid, today we see that a lot of problems like anxiety, depression coming up. Why? Because the world is on social media. The kids are exposed to social media. That is why the problems have gone up. Had they been gone to some playing arena and playing basketball or football with their friends, good hormones release in brain.
I think gully sports is also not being played anymore. I think that is one of the reasons too, that you need more of these sports arenas which are safer, especially for metros and bigger cities. So I have one more question with this, is that how important is sports infrastructure? Because we need all-weather surfaces now, we need injury-free surfaces, we need places where you can play safely without getting injured. So how important do you think, in football, of course it is turf, sports turf, but any other sports also, there are the various kind of sports surfaces. What do you think should be the, what is the need of this in sports training?
Very big need of having the right surface. There was a meme which was going around in social media where Karishma Kapoor is playing basketball with football on a green
on the golf
course wearing tennis attire. So that indicates that how unaware the people are about sports surfaces. So we need to make sure that we have the appropriate surface to develop players, to make not only develop players, to allow players to play joyfully and with full engagement, and as you say, injury free, all weather, absolutely. And now if we zoom in from a broader concept to player development, in football or in any invasion sport like basketball or football, where you have to invade into the other territory to score a goal or to score a point, is that you need to look up first, right? You communicate and then you decide and then you execute, right? But think about if a player is playing at a surface where he always has to look at the ball, because the ball can bounce anytime. It's an uneven surface. The player has to watch out कि कहीं uneven तो नहीं है, that can cause injury. That where is the ball coming from? Is the ball a very unpredictable nature of the ball? So then what he's doing is he's looking all the time at the ball, so he's not able to communicate well with his surroundings, and that affects his decision, and then he will execute the poor decision. And whereas we want a player to execute perfect decisions, so that is how it hampers player development.
And I was hearing Messi's interview once, that how important is that decision, and it is, you get not even 1/100th of a second to decide where to give, how to pass, where to pass.
It happens unconsciously.
So I'm coming back to your Karishma Kapoor thing, that when I was a child, my vision for badminton was Jitendra in leather shoes playing badminton for a song. So now the things are changing. You can see now how the filmmakers are making better movies like Maidan, where they showed the triumph of Indian football in 50s, and I think they won the bronze or something like that in Olympics, which was never, we can't even think of it now for the next 20-30 years. So things are changing. So what do you think as a country we are changing and becoming a more sporty nation, or we are just talking?
We are just talking because, and the example is, we know Manu Bhaker or Neeraj Chopra at the time of Olympics. Now they will be anonymous for the next 4 years because no one knew Manu Bhaker before she went on to win.
Yeah.
So there is not enough coverage, there is not enough sponsorship money which goes to those athletes so that they can, because we all know we are 1.4 billion people. We need more Manu Bhakars, we need more Neeraj Chopras, we need more Sunil Shettis. How is that going to happen in a country where there's such a big population? Is when we have awareness, when we have corporate sponsorships, government help to all those sports persons who are aspiring for the Olympic medals. Not just, and we all know throughout they are we can see them in endorsements throughout the 4 years. Not just
Not
before
when they are successful.
They're successful. So right now, to answer your question, things are changing. I agree, but the pace at which they are changing is not satisfactory. We need to change very fast, and education is the only way we can become a sporty nation. So that after 9 to 5, it's okay to go with your friends to play football or tennis, something like that, because that parent, that corporate employee is also a parent. So he will make sure that when he goes home, he asks his son, "Hey, did you play, or were you just studying?"
So I have the last question. Before the question, most of the places I have gone to in Europe, Australia, most of them have asked me, what sport do you play? We in India never ask that question.
Yeah.
That what sport do you play? And we are trying to bring Olympics in India in maybe 2036 or 2040.
Yeah.
So what do you think as a coach or as a coaching program holder, what do you think would be companies like you will be contributing towards the journey to the Olympics?
Now first, let me take the first part of the question first. You talked about Olympics coming to India. Commonwealth Games came to India 2010, and did we see a major change? Yeah, we did not. But yeah, hosting can definitely benefit some people. But if you want to bring a change at a massive level, at the whole level, then education is the only key to it. And we, as Global Sports Coaching, we are focused on coaching the stakeholders. For example, the football clubs, that which curriculum you should take, and to train their coaches on that curriculum. And coaches at independent level, we are focused on coaching the coaches, training the trainers program, so that those trainers, when they go back after taking education from us, they serve 100 more people, 100 more kids. So that is how we can go to masses through education.
So you have a train the trainer program?
Yes, you have.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. And because we are so serious, like I have shared classroom with the English Premier League club Chelsea. You must have heard of Chelsea coach Mr. Graham Potter. He and me were in the same classroom because we were learning from the best, one of the best football philosophers in the world, Mr. Raymond Varane, and I've been with him for on his courses for the last five years, and that is the seriousness, that is the level of education going on at GSC, and that is the level at which we are coaching the coaches. And now the result is, Nasir, one thing which education does, it breaks the myth. You must have heard about फुटबॉल बीइंग ये तो यार देसी बच्चों का स्पोर्ट है, इसमें तो खूब भागना होता है, ये रिच बच्चे कुछ कहाँ कर पाएंगे, मतलब इनको तो सब कुछ है, इनकी नीड सारी सेटिस्फाइड हैं. Why would they take the pain of playing in the sun, running for 90 minutes and etc. This is so lack of education leads to such stupid statements. What we at GSC have done, we have made, I won't name the kid for primary reasons, he had a farmhouse. So he's from that class category, and he has been playing with us for the last 5 years, And now he is selected in the under 15 squad of an ISL club. And we'll be releasing the Instagram post very soon. And this is not the first. There have been 4 where they are from upper middle class background. Because look, the rags to riches story becomes very popular. But it does not mean that to become successful you have to be born the rags.
Yeah.
कि हिमा दास तो बिना जूतों के भागती थी and she went down to break records. So does it mean all athletes should run barefoot? No, she did it despite those problems, not because of those problems. This is very important to understand. So that is the level of education we are working at, and as a result what happens is coaches at our club around us improve, and they improve the players, and we break myths, and even upper middle class people, rich people, kids, their kids get selected to elite residential setups of ISL clubs. So we take pride in breaking the myths, because there should be no divide that football is a lower middle class sport or a lower class sport. A sport should unite people. It should not divide people. A sport is for everyone.
Yeah. Very true, very true. So one last question before we say bye to you. What do you think football as a game is going to be in the next 5 years in India? Because it's the most popular game in the world.
Yeah. I think the future is very bright for India in football. And I'm not talking about elite achievements. I'm talking about participation. Because there are a lot of mini turfs which are being put, and they are being booked by players to play 5-a-side football, 6-a-side football and all. And similarly for paddle, like they are challenging tennis. So paddle is picking up. So not football, but yeah, as a sport, futsal, 5 versus 5. So yeah, is big. And as the middle class becomes bigger, the middle class of our country becomes bigger, and it secures its roti kapda makan at an early age, then they think about all these things as well. And as a country we are growing, and I think we'll be a much more sportier nation than what we are today in the next 5-10 years for sure.
Perfect. Thank you, Anshul. Thank you for coming here, and thank you for talking with us. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure, Nasir ji. Thanks for having me.